All right, what's up, people? Today we are here on some Destiny again. I'm here with my boy, the bartender. I am using the new and improved, updated Raiju's Harnessed Exotic. In the Season of the Revenant, Raiju's Harness original perk got transferred over to the Blight Ranger exotic. It had its perk just straight up given to the Blight Ranger, and it got a entirely new perk, which honestly kind of surprised me because usually when Bungie does like the perk switching, they don't just make a new perk. They'll just like slightly tweak it so where it's the same but kind of different. Like they basically did the same thing with Icefall Mantle from yesterday's video, but they actually just straight up gave Raiju's Harness an entirely new perk, apparently based off of the lore tab. I haven't read this lore tab, but I guess the perk is based off of that, which is kind of cool. So the new perk here is called Mobius Conduit. I think that's actually the same name. I'm stupid. Activating Gathering Storm calls down lightning on all nearby targets, jolting them while also amplifying allies. Defeating arc debuff targets grants a small amount of Gathering Storm energy. So it's actually a really unique perk, and it's the first exotic we have that is specifically catered towards Gathering Storm, which in my opinion is not the best, but it's my favorite arc super out of literally all of the arc supers. I think Gathering Storm is the coolest out of Hunter, Titan, Warlock, all of them. It's super cool. And now Raiju's Harness makes it really, really good. And I have a build here that is basically turning me into a evolved Hive Knight, which is what I'm calling this build. I have the Raiju's Harness, which allows me to jolt and amplify my allies whenever I use Gathering Storm, and whenever I defeat an arc debuff target, I will be able to get Gathering Storm energy. And I also have the new and improved Xdirus Hive launcher. This didn't really get like a perk change or anything, or not like anything super important, but it did get some much needed changes to make the exotic just feel like a lot better. And this build is basically to debuff and kill as many targets as possible. So let's go over it one by one, starting with the subclass. Obviously, we have on the Gathering Storm. This is the thing we need. We got our Gambler's Dodge to get our melee back. Combination Blow, because Disorienting Blow is not worth it here. And I'm going to show you why. I swear to God, this build is insane. We have the Flashbang Grenade. This is the first part of the build that gets really crazy. So we have Flashbang Grenade, which will blind targets, so that's one debuff. We have Spark of Shock, which will make it so my grenades also jolt targets. So now, with just one grenade, I'm applying two debuffs on everything that gets hit by it, which is really good. But then we go even further. We go even further beyond. So now we have Flow State, which is the first aspect. Defeating a jolted target makes you amplified. While you're amplified, your dodge recharges more quickly and you're more resilient while dodging. Your reload speed is greatly increased. The main thing we have to worry about is defeating a jolted target makes you amplified, and while you're amplified, your dodge reloads more quickly. Since we have our grenade here that is going to basically always be jolting targets because of Spark of Shock, that instantly makes it so we get amplified. So we just throw a grenade, get a couple kills, we get amplified. Then we have Ascension, which is the new arc aspect, which makes it so using your class ability while airborne will propel yourself upwards, creating a burst of energy that amplifies allies and jolts targets. I think you guys can see where I'm going with this. The entire idea of this build is to constantly have me and my allies amplified and constantly have every enemy in the game jolted. So my class ability will jolt enemies. My super will jolt enemies because of Raiju's Harness, because whenever we use Raiju's Harness, it'll jolt enemies nearby where I am. So I could just throw it at something else, everything around me gets jolted. I have my class ability that'll also jolt everything around me. Then I have Spark of Discharge, which will make it so arc weapon and final blows have a chance to generate an ionic trace. I have Spark of Ions, which defeating a jolted target creates an ionic trace. And then I have Spark of Beacons, which makes it so while you are amplified, your arc special or heavy weapon final blows create a blinding explosion. And I have a perfect exotic for this sort of scenario where I have the this build is so fucking crazy. I swear to God. This exotic is very special because it has an ability that makes it so final blows and rapid direct hits with this weapon create a loyal moth. The loyal moth will seek out targets and detonate on them, damaging and blinding them. So let me put it into perspective. If we need something to be jolted, We can use Raiju's Harness. We can use the Gathering Storm to jolt a target. We can use our Ascension to jolt a target. And we can also use our Grenade to jolt a target because of Spark of Shock. If we need something to be blinded, we can use our Grenade because it's a Flashbang Grenade. We can use our Arc Special or Arc Heavy Weapon because of Spark of Beacons and will always be amplified. And then if I need even more blinding, I have my Loyal Moths. So everything will be jolted, everything will be blinded, and because everything is jolted and blinded, Raiju's Harness will give me even more Gathering Storm energy so I can use another Gathering Storm. And I'm also using 100 Intellect so I can get the fastest super time possible. This build is genuinely insane when it comes to arc debuffs. And I didn't think arc debuffs can get this crazy, but it's pretty freaking crazy. So we're going to play some Onslaught, the new Onslaught game mode, and we're going to see just how absolutely busted we can make this. This is the gameplay loop, basically. We want to throw our grenade into a crowd, get a bunch of kills, get a bunch of blinds. And then once we're amplified, that's when we could start really going crazy with just shooting our X-Deerus here and just destroying the entire room. I'll throw in my Ascension to really solidify all of the jolts and effects and stuff like that. This build gets crazy. I'm fighting against the wall. Oh my god. Okay, I'm almost dead, but you look at how fast I get my fucking my thing back. Look at that. It's actually kind of broken. And then Ionic Traces will constantly give me back energy. Oh, this is actually so broken. And because I'm armor charged, I have a lot of resilience, so that kind of makes up for my lack of survivability. Look at this. I can just spam abilities. I don't have to worry about what I'm using. And I got my Gathering Storm. I'm just gonna throw it. Oh, look at that. It just sent out lightning bolts. Look at how crazy this is. I got moths everywhere. I got Ionic Traces everywhere. All right, let's do this, team. The visual clutter is insane. The visual clutter is insane. There's just ice and lightning everywhere. I cannot see. Help. Move, teammate. Yeah, no, we did. Yeah, that was all me. I did that. So yeah, this was, I don't really have a name for this build. I'm just calling it the Evolved Hive Knight. But I feel like that name doesn't do it enough service. I absolutely just shocked the entire fucking room. And I literally will be using this, you can see it right here. I will be using this build significantly more often when it comes to any sort of activity with a arc modifier because of how utterly broken this build is. Like, it's not the top of all builds. Obviously, you know, Prismatic sits at the top very, like, easily. But this build is a ton of fucking fun. It is a lot of fun. I will always have my abilities because of Ionic Traces and Amplified. I'll always have my super because I'm defeating arc debuff targets. Not the rework, but the buff that X-Deerus got makes it feel significantly better, man. It feels so much more better, so much more fun to use. the Gathering Storm update that Raiju's Harness got, I think this does fit the exotic a lot more than just blocking. I think blocking is the dumbest thing. I'm gonna go into a little rant. I think Blight Ranger and just blocking in general is so stupid. It's so stupid. This whole exotic, it's just so lame. I don't know. Like, the way I see Arc in my head, specifically Arc Staff, right, is movement. I don't like the whole idea of Arc in my head is being able to move fast, move quickly, or be able to deal a huge amount of burst damage. But blocking doesn't fit that at all. It just doesn't. Like, yeah, the blocking is cool, being able to deflect projectiles, and Blight Ranger makes it so it increases the like deflected damage. But I don't see that as like a thing that's specific to Arc, you know? That's more like a Void thing to block, because Void is like about whatever, man. It doesn't matter. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, comment down below how you feel about the Arc changes. I think the Raiju's Harness change is really good, and I think the X Dearest changes is god tier. This is actually like a good exotic now, not just a piece of garbage that's very gimmicky. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.